They touch layers of the soul that most people don't even know exist. They awaken transformation, both liberating and devastating depending on how much emotional and spiritual maturity you have cultivated within yourself. If you enter a twin flame connection without first walking through the fire of isolation, without developing unshakable self-love and emotional sovereignty, the intensity of that bond will not heal you. It will consume you. It will unravel your sense of self. It will pull you into cycles of codependency so deep that you no longer know where you end and the other begins. It will tempt you to abandon your own truth, your own needs, your own essence, all in a desperate attempt to keep the connection alive. This is why the universe isolates you first. Not to punish you, but to protect you, and to protect what is coming. The isolation ensures that when you finally meet your twin flame, you are already whole on your own. You already love yourself enough that you do not need their validation, you simply appreciate it. Could you have built an identity so solid, so rooted in your own truth, that you can enter the depths of this connection without disappearing into it? You carry the emotional and spiritual tools necessary to navigate the very challenges that every twin flame union inevitably brings. But there is more. Isolation does not only prepare you internally, it also liberates you energetically from everyone who still occupies space in your auric field. Because even when relationships end physically, the energetic cords often remain. You still think about them. You still wonder if you made the right choice. Do you still carry longing or resentment or fantasies of what could have been? And every time you do this, you reinforce those cords. They drain your vitality. They anchor you to old frequencies. They render you unavailable, truly unavailable for the connection your soul is waiting for. During the period of sacred isolation, these cords finally dissolve. When there are no distractions, when you are not jumping from person to person, hoping someone will fill the void, when you finally sit with your own loneliness and make peace with it, something extraordinary happens. You energetically release the past. The people who once occupied so much space in your mind begin to fade. The relationships you once believed were fated reveal their true purpose. They were lessons, and their lesson is now complete. And you feel it, a lightness, a freedom you have not felt in years, perhaps in lifetimes. This energetic release is non-negotiable. Your twin flame will not enter your life while you are still energetically committed to others. It does not matter whether those commitments are conscious or unconscious, whether they are current relationships or ghosts from your past that you never fully released. The universe waits. It waits until your field is clear, until your heart is available, until you are fully present in the now, not tangled in the then. And there is yet another dimension to this isolation, equally vital. During this time alone, you are finally given the opportunity to discover who you actually are outside of relationships, outside of social roles, outside of the masks you have worn your entire life to be accepted, loved, validated. Most people never have this experience. They move from relationship to relationship, from social circle to social circle, always defining themselves through the eyes of others, always reshaping themselves to meet expectations that were never theirs to begin with. They have never had the courage or the grace to be completely alone and ask, "Who am I when there is no one to impress? What do I actually want when I am not trying to please someone else? What is my deepest truth when no one is watching?" These questions can only be answered in solitude, and the answers that rise from within this sacred quiet transform you at the root. You rediscover parts of yourself that have been buried for years. You reconnect with dreams you abandoned because others told you they were unrealistic. You develop hobbies, interests, passions that have nothing to do with impressing anyone. You become genuinely interesting, not because you are trying to be, but because you are finally living from your own authentic truth. And when your twin flame finally arrives, they do not find someone hollow, waiting to be filled. They find someone complete, someone fascinating. To someone who already has a rich, meaningful life independent of any relationship. They find someone who does not need them to be happy, but who chooses to share their happiness. And this kind of meeting between two whole sovereign beings is unlike anything most people ever experience. Here is where many lose their way. They fight the isolation. They resist the silence. They cannot tolerate the emptiness, the stillness, the confrontation with themselves. So they escape. They throw themselves into shallow relationships just to avoid being alone. They fill their calendars with obligations that exhaust rather than nourish. They spend hours scrolling through screens, mistaking noise for connection. And every time they do this, every time they run from the very isolation the universe has lovingly placed them in, they delay the meeting with their twin flame because they are refusing to do the work, the necessary work, the work that cannot be outsourced or shortcut. The paradox is this: The more you resist isolation, the longer you remain trapped in it. The more you fight loneliness, the more it pursues you. But the moment you surrender, the moment you accept that you are alone for a greater reason, the moment you stop seeing solitude as something to escape and begin seeing it as something to embrace, everything changes. Isolation ceases to be a prison. It becomes a sanctuary. Loneliness no longer aches. It nourishes, and you begin to experience a quality of peace and wholeness that you never found, not even in your best relationships. There is also a more subtle, esoteric reason for this isolation, one that few understand. You are not simply waiting, you are being initiated. You are dying to an old version of yourself and being reborn as something entirely new, and all death, even symbolic death, requires solitude. You cannot undergo a deep spiritual transformation while surrounded by people who still see you as you were. They will treat you according to the old blueprint. They will hold you in old roles, old patterns, old identities through their expectations, their memories, their unconscious attachment to who you used to be. The universe isolates you so that this death and rebirth can unfold without interference, so that you can reinvent yourself completely without having to answer anyone's questions, without having to justify your changes, without having to manage the confusion or judgment of those who cannot comprehend what you are becoming. This is a sacred, deeply personal process, and it can only occur in the privacy of your own soul. And when you finally emerge from this initiation, when the transformation is complete, you are no longer the same person. You carry a different presence, a different energy, a different frequency. And it is this frequency, refined, elevated, whole, that finally resonates with your twin flame. It is as if the universe has tuned you to a new station, and on this station, your twin flame has been broadcasting all along, waiting on the same frequency, waiting for you to become someone who could receive them. And now, the deepest layer. Isolation does not only prepare you for your twin flame, it tests you. It reveals whether you are truly ready for this kind of connection, or whether you are still operating from emotional hunger disguised as spiritual longing. Because many people say they want to meet their twin flame, but what they truly want is someone to fill the void, someone to validate their existence, someone to give meaning to a life they have not yet learned to make meaningful on their own. But a true twin flame connection is not about filling, it is about expansion. It is not about finding wholeness in another, but about two already whole beings choosing to create something greater together. And you will only know if you are truly ready for this when you can be happy alone, not resigned, not pretending, but genuinely, peacefully, radiantly whole with no one beside you. Because the love you seek is not here to save you. It is here to meet you, and it can only meet you where you have already saved yourself. When you can create a meaningful, rich, and fulfilling life without needing any relationship to feel valuable. When you can love yourself so completely that another person's love becomes a bonus, not a necessity. The period of isolation forces you to develop this emotional self-sufficiency. It forces you to stop looking outside for what can only be found within. It teaches you that you are not the receiver of the love you seek, you are the source. And when you finally integrate this truth, when you finally become the source of your own love and wholeness, you stop emanating that desperate energy of neediness that repels healthy connections. You begin emanating an energy of abundance, of solidity, of wholeness, and that frequency naturally attracts those who vibrate at the same level. During isolation, you also undergo a profound emotional purification. All the old wounds you never fully processed, all the traumas you swept beneath the rug, all the self-destructive patterns you justified, minimized, or denied, all of it surfaces, because now alone, with nowhere to run, you cannot distract yourself with relationships, social drama, or the endless busyness you once used to avoid looking within. You are forced to face everything you have spent a lifetime avoiding, and this confrontation with your own shadow, with your own pain, your own fear, your own taunt parts, is one of the most difficult and transformative experiences a human being can endure. But it is absolutely necessary. Because your twin flame will function as a perfect mirror reflecting everything that exists within you, both your light and your shadow. If you have not done the work of recognizing and integrating your shadows before this meeting, the intensity of that mirroring can be unbearable. It can create conflicts so deep you cannot navigate them. It can activate emotional triggers so violent that the connection becomes destructive rather than generative. But when you have already done this work, when you have already sat in the darkness and made peace with what lives there, the twin flame mirroring becomes something else entirely, not mutual destruction, but mutual refinement. And there is one more crucial function of isolation often overlooked, yet essential. During this time alone, you are literally becoming an energetic magnet for your twin flame, not pretending, but genuinely, peacefully, radiantly whole, with no one beside you. Because the love you seek is not here to save you, it is here to meet you, and it can only meet you where you have already saved yourself, when you can create a meaningful, rich, and fulfilling life without needing any relationship to feel valuable. When you can love yourself so completely that another person's love becomes a bonus, not a necessity. The period of isolation forces you to develop this emotional self-sufficiency. It forces you to stop looking outside for what can only be found within. It teaches you that you are not the receiver of the love you seek. You are the source. And when you finally integrate this truth, when you finally become the source of your own love and wholeness, you stop emanating that desperate energy of neediness that repels healthy connections. You begin emanating an energy of abundance, of solidity, of wholeness. And that frequency naturally attracts those who vibrate at the same level. During isolation, you also undergo a profound emotional purification. All the old wounds you never fully processed, all the traumas you swept beneath the rug, all the self-destructive patterns you justified, minimized, or denied, all of it surfaces, because now alone, with nowhere to run you, cannot distract yourself with relationships, social drama, or the endless busyness you once used to avoid looking within. You are forced to face everything you have spent a lifetime avoiding, and this confrontation with your own shadow, with your own pain, your own fear, your own bold parts is one of the most difficult and transformative experiences a human being can endure. But it is absolutely necessary, because your twin flame will function as a perfect mirror reflecting everything that exists within you, both your light and your shadow. If you have not done the work of recognizing and integrating your shadows before this meeting, the intensity of that mirroring can be unbearable. It can create conflicts so deep you cannot navigate them. It can activate emotional triggers so violent that the connection becomes destructive rather than generative. But when you have already done this work, when you have already sat in the darkness and made peace with what lives there, the twin flame mirroring becomes something else entirely, not mutual destruction, but mutual refinement. And there is one more crucial function of isolation often overlooked, yet essential. During this time alone, you are literally becoming an energetic magnet for your twin flame. Every moment you spend working on yourself, healing your wounds, developing your capabilities, refining your consciousness, you raise your vibrational frequency, and the higher your frequency, the stronger the magnetic field you generate. It is as if you are transmitting an energetic signal into the universe, a beacon of light that your twin flame can sense and follow, even though you have not yet met in physical form. But this beacon can only shine at full intensity when you are not wasting your energy on connections that do not serve your highest good. Every time you involve yourself with someone misaligned with your deepest truth, you diffuse your light. Every time you accept less than you deserve, you lower your frequency. Every time you energetically commit to people or situations that drain you, you weaken the signal you are sending to your twin flame. Isolation concentrates your energy. It allows you to direct your entire life force toward your own growth and evolution. And when you do this consistently, when you truly dedicate yourself to becoming the highest expression of who you are, without distraction, without compromise, your light becomes so bright that your twin flame cannot help but find you. The universe conspires to create the meeting, because you are both finally vibrating on the same frequency. But you must trust the timing. You must understand that the universe knows exactly when you will both be ready to meet. And this timing has nothing to do with your impatience, nothing to do with your loneliness, nothing to do with your desire. It has to do with energetic preparation, with spiritual maturity, with readiness to sustain the intensity that a twin flame connection requires. If the meeting happens before its time, before the purification is complete, before the frequency is aligned, it can be devastating for both of you. But if it happens at the right time, after you have both walked through your own fires, after you have both completed your own transformations, it becomes the most extraordinary and evolutionary experience two souls can share. So if you are feeling isolated right now, if you are wondering when you will finally meet your person, when you will finally experience the deep love your soul has longed for, I need you to completely shift your perspective on what you are living through. You are not being punished with loneliness. You are being prepared for greatness. You are not being forgotten by the universe. You are being refined like gold in the fire. Every day you spend alone doing the inner work, healing your wounds, developing your consciousness, you move one step closer to the most meaningful encounter of your life. And when that meeting finally happens, when you look into your twin flame's eyes and feel that instant recognition, that visceral certainty that you have finally found who you were looking for, you will understand why the isolation was necessary. You will be grateful for every moment of solitude that transformed you into the person capable of recognizing and honoring such a sacred connection. You will realize that the universe did not isolate you to hurt you. It isolated you to prepare you to receive the most precious gift life can offer, the meeting of two souls who recognize each other through the veil of illusion and consciously choose to create a reality rooted in true love. So stop fighting the isolation. Stop seeing solitude as the enemy. Embrace this sacred period of transformation. Use this time to fall in love with yourself, to develop your talents, to heal your wounds, to discover who you truly are when you are not trying to be what others expect. Because when you do that, when you truly establish yourself in your own wholeness and magnificence, your twin flame will appear, not because you conquered them, not because you desperately searched for them, but because you finally became the person who vibrates at the same frequency they do. And then, what once seemed impossible becomes inevitable. Now, if you want access to practical techniques and deep insights that will completely accelerate your preparation process for meeting your twin flame, I have created 2 exclusive materials especially for you. The first is the ebook 21 Days of Transformation with Carl Jung, a complete guide that will take you step by step through daily practices based on Jung's most powerful teachings, designed to raise your frequency and make you a magnet for soul connections. To the Soul Survival Manual with Carl Jung's teachings, where you will find practical tools to navigate this period of isolation with wisdom, to consciously integrate your shadows, and to prepare yourself energetically for the most meaningful encounter of your life. These materials will give you clarity, direction, and concrete techniques to transform this period of solitude into the very portal to the reality your soul has always known was possible. The link to access the ebooks is in the description of this video. And if this content touched your soul, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you don't miss the next videos. Share this video with someone you know is walking through this process of isolation. Perhaps it is exactly the message that person needs to hear today. And tell me here in the comments, are you experiencing this period of isolation right now? How has this experience been for you? Your story can inspire and help others who are on the same journey. And believe me, you are not alone in this loneliness. You are being prepared for something extraordinary. Trust the process, trust the universe, and most of all, trust yourself. See you in the next video.